Hello and welcome to a brand new Player 2 unboxing. My name is Paul James and today we've got a different one. It's the PlayStation Classic, released today, the day that I'm recording this, probably tomorrow, yesterday, the day you're viewing this. The PlayStation Classic has bundled up 20 of PlayStation's most classic games, including some big names such as Final Fantasy VII and Destruction Derby and Tekken 3, and then it starts to drop off a little bit. We've got Intelligent Cube and Cool Borders 2, and excuse some snuffling in the background, my dog's bouncing around. There's some fantastic games on here. Metal Gear Solid, for example, is on there. You've got Revelations Persona. That is the original Persona. This is probably the cheapest way you can get this game legitimately. Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, Wild Arms. There's some fantastic games on this thing, but we're going to crack into it because I have a lot of nostalgia for the PS1. It is a console that I was brought up on, and we're going to take a look at the contents of this package and get a bit of an idea for just how small this system is. So I'm more prepared than I've ever been. Got a blade. Now, with the dog bouncing around, this is one take, so here's hoping she behaves herself. As is becoming custom somewhat, we get to see the PlayStation logo on the front there. It's minimalistic, simple, but cool. I like it. The main box itself, some attention details, obviously our ratings, the name of what the thing is. 20 games outlined on the back there. But plain white box that houses the system itself. But it was a box inside a box, and now we need to crack into what really counts. And that is, of course, the instructions. We've got the instruction manual for the PlayStation Classic. It's quite meaty given that this is essentially just a flash drive full of games. And my god, this is small. I've dealt with the NES Mini and the SNES Mini, and this could be the smallest of the lot. I can palm it, which is a good start. So, this is the PlayStation Classic. Very, very small thing. The lid doesn't flick up. You've got your open and power buttons, reset buttons that kind of have different operations for the actual system. So they'll reset or they'll return you to the game's boot menu where you can select games and those sorts of things. Memory card slots, they're fixed. There's nothing permanent about them. They're not flaps like they used to be to put in a memory card. And then obviously different ports for the controllers, which we'll dig out a controller in a moment. There's a little flap on the back here that I'm interested to have a bit of a look at, if I can actually get into it. Let's see if that blade won't. No, it doesn't want to go right now. I don't know what's housed within that little spot, but on the back we've got our HDMI port and our USB in, like the NES and SNES Minis. That is your output, dog in the background, and your power. So you don't need power points like you once did. You can purely power this from the USB spot that is commonly available on most modern TVs. So nice and accessible. There's the Classic. We continue diving into the box. And we've got a pair of OG style PlayStation controls, HDMI port, cord, USB like we just spoke about, so that's your output and your power, and then the controllers. A pair of them. So they're not the DualShock. Keep in mind the DualShock, the twin analog stick concept. And that's it for the box, by the way. The twin analog concept was something that was introduced really late Well, not really late, but later into the platform's life, which meant that you always had to support this because you might still have, with future games developed, because you might have people playing without analog sticks. And there was a few games that, Ape Escapes and that of the world, that kind of required it, and it forced people's hands somewhat. But, well, the DualShock's amazing, and it's a shame that they didn't bundle that in there because it would have given them a lot more scope in terms of the games they picked. But who knows what PlayStation's thinking? Maybe we're going to see something along those lines down the line. We'll continue along here, we'll unwrap this, we'll get a bit of an idea for the cord length. Dog goes trotting past, probably making a ton of noise. Like the Nintendo mini consoles, this is not a lot of cord. From my couch, it doesn't even reach the camera. Not that I can do that properly now, I'll just launch it across to you. There's not a lot of cords, so I'm going to have to get some extensions or drag this console kind of halfway across the room so it can actually make it the distance. Again, like the Nintendo Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic, I don't understand the rationale behind making these cords so short. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not practical. And I don't know how you can justify that it is. But anyway, we've got a pair of OG PS1 controllers, 1 and 2. I won't unravel that other one, that's fine. Like I said, we've got our HDMI and our power cords, the console itself, and that is it. That is the contents of the PlayStation 1 or PlayStation Classic console. Again, we've got 20 games on this thing, and I'll read them all out for you. So we've got Battle Arena Toshinden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy 7, which is by many probably the marquee attractions of this. The original Grand Theft Auto, so before the massive changes that came with GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas. Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, Mr. Driller, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, Rayman, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations Persona, Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, and Wild Arms. So it's an interesting batch. There's some interesting omissions. Lots of conversation kind of raging about those at the moment. Is it because of some of these remastered trilogies of Crash and Spyro that those games haven't made it? Why was there not Expandable Memory, Tomb Raider? Where are all those sorts of games? Plenty of reasonable questions to be asked, but there's some really cool games on here as well. Like I said, Persona, good luck getting that game, a legit PS1 copy of that game, for anything less than about $400 or $500 these days. It's such a collector's item, courtesy of the booming success that we've seen in Personas 4 and 5 specifically, that it's super hard to access these days. Your Metal Gears, your Final Fantasies, all those aren't cheap either. So if you want to access this, it's more expensive than the NES or SNES Classics at 150 Australian dollars. But it is still the cheapest way for you to access a large portion of these games legitimately, because some of them aren't even available on the PlayStation 3 store, let alone PS4 or anything else. So, PlayStation Classic, controllers, cables, that's the whole package. If you've enjoyed this unboxing, please consider liking, sharing and subscribing. All those details are down below here, and hit that notification bell. That way you're alerted to every new video the moment it goes live on the channel. That includes Patched, The Insider, Player 2 Plays, a late game review, more unboxings, Gamer School, and a whole bunch more. For written content, please visit the website player2.net.au, where you'll find reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, the Player 2 Writer's Draft, and heaps more, including links to our podcasts, the Player 2 podcast and my newest baby, Dev Diary. Go and check those out. We're also on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au, and consider kicking a few bucks. At the lower tiers, you'll get early access to episodes of Patched, The Insider, and a whole bunch of others. At the higher tiers, you'll get monthly episode exclusives and the ability to join us in the Player 2 podcast. Please consider checking that out. Your patronage would be amazing, and you'll be helping the Player 2 dream to grow. For rolling updates, you can find me at Paul James Games on Twitter. The website you'll find at Player2au. And until next time, that has been the PlayStation Classic. I'm going to go get into it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.